No, I'm not saying you can't have these in your collection to hold just in case. That's not what I'm saying at all. But they shouldn't become just a staple in your routine where it's like, well, I have to use this. So today's video is gonna be things I no longer use in my hair. Well, things I no longer use, no longer purchase. Haircare edition. Because it's not like things I no longer use in my hair. It's more just like things that I've over time kind of slowly stopped buying, where I buy less frequently than I used to the older I've gotten or the more I've learned, kind of a thing. So I think it's kind of important to talk about it because I've realized, especially recently, when I've been going through a lot of like videos and things I used to watch a lot, and when I look at what I used to watch now when I look back at it now, I realized that a lot of the things that we kind of were conditioned to love or to want, especially like black-haired or curly-haired girls or guys, whoever you are, it's such a thing where it's like it's kind of breeding overconsumption. I know that like at one point YouTube had a really big overconsumption sell, especially with like influencers having like huge like makeup and skincare and clothing just empires in their homes. You know, they could run a whole Sephora from their bedroom with the amount of stuff that they had, right? And I think we've gotten to that point where I feel like we need to learn as a society kind of just what we need, especially for what we have in our day-to-day lives. And for me, these are things that I've learned just over time, what it is that I want to use, what it is that I think works for me, what it is doesn't work for me, stuff like that. And I want to share them because I feel like, you know, not everyone has the same thoughts, everyone has the same experiences, and so each person's idea as to what they need, what they feel like they don't need, it changes over, and it changes over time because people grow, people change, and as you grow and change, things that you used to love back probably like a year or two, 5 ago, you don't know because things are different, you know, and your experiences are going to be different, probably your environment is different, you know, and all of that. So I think with that, I just wanted to touch upon things I personally realize I just don't reach for as much in my collection, or things I don't add to my collection anymore, or at least not as frequently as I would have before, right? First of all, things I don't use in my hair. This is probably gonna get me like a lot of hate on the curly haired community websites, but deep conditioners. Which I know it's a thing, and it's a big thing in the curly hair community, right? You have your deep conditioner, you shampoo, you condition, you deep condition, because it's that thing that you need to do. But I mean, I realized over time that it's not a necessity. It's not something that you need to do, guys. If anything, it's kind of a waste of time. My hair care, I don't know about you guys, but my hair care routine is so long already. I timed myself, and to wash my hair alone will take me anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour, and then to style my hair will take me anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour, and that is on like a good day, right? So me adding extra steps into my routine just because is a waste of my time and a waste of my energy, because it takes a lot out of you. And the longer your hair is, the more work you have to add into it, because it takes longer to detangle, longer to style, longer to keep. You know, you have to hydrate and moisturize and all of that, and it takes a lot out of you. So for me, just some of these tips I've realized, like things like deep conditioning just is not it anymore for me. And again, I think it's something that you've been kind of conditioned to want or to do because of the whole YouTube, or at this point just influencer, because you have TikTok now and Instagram. There's just influencer drive where it's like you need to deep condition your hair every single wash day, and you don't. In all honesty, you really don't. And what I've learned from my own experience personally, obviously, but what I've learned is, for me, if I need the deep condition, my conditioner isn't doing its job. That's what I've realized, because I've found really good shampoos and conditioners, not even deep conditioners, just regular shampoos, conditioners to use in my day-to-day routine, and I don't end up needing a deep conditioner because my hair is already hydrated enough. It's been clarified and hydrated enough to the point where I can step out of the shower, go into my routine, and not have to worry about my hair breaking or anything like that, because the things I purchased for that first instance for my hair are doing the job that I'm paying for it to do, right? And so the idea that I'm now going to have to go ahead and deep condition after I've conditioned just is not, it does not sit well with me. And again, it's this whole process, right? Because to deep condition, what you've been told is you need to put it in your hair, then you need to get your conditioning cap, and if it's one of those that you need to, you know, heat, you either pop it in the microwave, or you buy yourself a whole salon dryer to sit under for 30 minutes to an hour and then continue your routine. I've never done that. I'm not kidding. I have never done that. When I used to deep condition my hair, I used to deep condition it. I'd wash my body, I'd shave, I'd exfoliate, I'd do all of that to wash out my hair, wash my body, shower, all. That's when I would do it. I've never been one of those girls who would take the time to step out of the shower to go under a dryer to then go back into the shower. Never been one of those girls. I don't think I ever will be one of those girls. You are amazing if you are one of those girls, and I applaud you, but that is not me, and it will never be me, right? But that in itself is a process, and it's not a process that you need to be doing, because here's the real thing. Your hair, your cuticle, it opens up in heat. And I know for a lot of people, especially if you're living in like the UK, the US, Canada, in like a colder country, you already have heating in you're using hot water. I know for a fact most people are using cold water. If you're using cold water in these climates, kudos to you, hands down. But most people use hot water already here. Your cuticles are in your hair shaft are already opening. You don't need to go out of your way to heat a product or to get a hot product to open your cuticles for you to be layering that deep conditioner in. That's one thing. Also, if it is that you do all of this, I'm promising you, and I know certain people are like, well, I've seen differences, and if you have, that's good on you, continue what you're doing. But I know for an honest fact, a lot of people do not notice the difference between when they deep condition their hair with heat and when they deep condition without heat. And I mean that meaning heat consistently throughout the entire time. And this is because your hair is going to absorb only what it needs to absorb. If you keep that heat open, you're keeping your hair shaft open. Keep that heat going, you're keeping your hair shaft open. Keeping your hair shaft open, yes, you're getting all the nutrients into your hair shaft immediately, right? Because it's constantly open. It's not closing from any cold or anything like that. And fair enough. However, your hair isn't going to absorb anything more than it would have if you just stood in the shower for 10 minutes. I can promise you. It's not. There's no science behind that. I know there's no science behind that. It's unfathomable. I know that people see, especially like with like their deep condition treatments, like leave on for 10 minutes. It generally is because after 10 minutes your hair isn't absorbing anything extra. It's the same with your skin. Your skin absorbs all it's gonna absorb within that first 10 to 30 minutes. Anything after that, it doesn't do anything. So you standing in the shower for 10 minutes just to wait for your product to absorb, it's not going to change. So you don't need to go to the shower to get a heated cap to put on your head, to sit down for 30 minutes to make it absorb, to like make more product absorb, or to make it absorb better, because it really doesn't. The only thing that it does is just it keeps your shaft open, and you can still do that. Just have the hot water running and have the steam coming into your hair, and that will keep your hair shaft open. The heat from the steam will keep your hair shaft open, honestly. Right, so for me, I've never understood where it's like you need to deep condition every week, because like I said, your conditioner is the purpose of your conditioner. A lot of people tend to wash with hot water, condition with hot water, and then go in with their deep conditioner, and then they see that, oh, my conditioner doesn't do its job. It's not like it's not doing its job. you're not allowing it to do what it's supposed to be doing because you're not following the routine that you're supposed to for your hair to get the benefits that you want from your product, right? So for me, I just use my shampoo, my conditioner. I've not noticed, and I can promise you, I've not noticed any difference with my hair using the deep conditioner and using makeup. The only time I think a deep conditioner is really worth it is if I'm trying to drag time in the shower because I want to do something, like I want to shave or I want to exfoliate or something. Other than that, I feel it's a waste of time. The only time I understand using a deep conditioner in your routine is if you're swapping it over a regular conditioner, because I know some people realize that conditioners just are too light, and sometimes they are. If they're made for like a wider population, conditioners may be a little bit too light for hair strands that require a heavy hand, right? So if your hair needs like a heavier dose of that conditioner, I understand why you use a deep conditioner instead, but I don't see the point in having both. And I use a conditioner because my hair is very thin. My hair strands are very fine, right? So for me, I need a regular conditioner because deep conditioner is way too heavy anyways. And a lot of the times I can see that it does just drag down my hair. Layering it on, it doesn't make it any more hydrated, it just makes it feel a little bit more heavy, right? So for me, deep conditioner, no. Next, and this is kind of going to be a little bit even more controversial because this is for like a wider range treatments, and I'm talking about at-home treatments, and I mean this on the same level as I'm talking about the deep conditioners. So I do not agree with people who believe that you should be using your hair treatment every week. No, don't do it. It's not worth it. And by hair treatment, I'm talking about your protein treatments. Deep conditioners can be considered treatment depending on what it's advertised as, because you have some that are just advertised as a conditioner that's like a little bit more heavy, a deep conditioner, or is it like a moisture mask that you're using as a deep conditioner? Because you have those two things. So it's really up to the person to decide for themselves what their purpose of that deep conditioner is, right? So any protein masks, moisture masks, any repair masks that may not be protein, it may just be oils, anything like that, any hair bond repairs like Olaplex, K18, all of those, right? Hot oil treatments, because I know that people love doing that now, right? Hot oil treatments, I think, are the only ones I understand why it's done on a regular basis. However, I have no comments about that as well. But I'm talking about like regular treatments. You're not supposed to be using them every week. There is such a thing as protein overload, and there is such a thing as moisture overload. And this happens when you inject too much protein or too much moisture into your hair, where it becomes dry and brittle. The problem is, people tend to not realize that they're doing this to their hair, so they don't realize that they're adding way too much protein or they're adding too much moisture, and then they continue to use these products, and their hair is getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And so at the end of the day, they're like, why is this product not working for my hair? Why is my hair only getting worse and worse? And I'm like, it's because you're doing this far too frequently, which means that your hair isn't getting time to breathe and repair naturally. Your hair can repair itself naturally if it hasn't gone to the point where you've damaged the cuticle completely. It can work slowly to help keep itself. Certain things you can't do. So you can't fix split ends naturally. Those just need to be clipped. You cannot. Those bonds are dead. So unless you're creating something that actually builds those bonds, so like K18 or Olaplex, where it's generally meant to rebuild the bonds that have been broken. If it's not one of those products, so you really can't do anything about it. So like protein treatments do not rebuild bonds. They can't. That's not what they're doing. Protein treatments add protein to the hair. Protein helps to create bonds. It doesn't rebuild them. That is, I think, where people get that whole thing misconstrued, where they think that because you add protein, oh, it's repairing these bonds because it's adding that protein. No, what it's doing is it's adding protein to create more bonds. And the problem is, your hair already creates enough protein that it needs. The only time your hair is not getting enough protein is if there's a health condition that you need to be taking care of. So say, for instance, you're lacking, I'm anemic, right? So I lack iron. I need to ingest iron to supplement the fact that my body isn't producing enough. right? That is a very different thing than me having just taking it because, well, my body's already producing it, but I want more blood cells. If that's the thinking that I'm going with, right? It's not realistic. My body's already producing as much as it needs. It doesn't have a deficit. So me adding iron is just gonna make my blood way too iron rich, which makes it way too heavy, which just creates more health problems, right? Which, yes, that is a thing. If you're wondering, you can be too iron rich. But just like that, your hair already makes enough protein. So unless you are protein deficit, which, trust me, that is an underlying health problem and you need to see your general practitioner. If that is not your underlying health problem, your hair is creating the protein that it needs to create these bonds. You don't need to be adding any, unless it's a situation where you're adding a lot of heat and you're using it as a preventative measure to prevent that damage, which I understand. But if that's the case, you shouldn't be adding that much heat, because you then are creating a cycle that you need to stop, right? And it's the same thing with moisture. Your hair, you drink enough water, your hair isn't supposed to be getting enough moisture. The only time your hair is supposed to be really brittle is if it's in a position where it's way too wet and then it breaks because the bonds are way too hydrated and the cuticle swells, which is the thing. Your cuticle will swell if there's too much water, which is why your hair is at its most brittle when you just step out of the shower, when you just wash it, right? If that's the situation, then you need to be thinking more about how to prevent these things instead of getting treatments that are just adding to the problem. And that's the reason why I don't recommend these, because I'm like, you're not, unless you're trying to figure out the underlying health condition, you're not adding to any benefits. You're really just creating problems that don't need to be created, right? With that being said, I don't believe you should never use hair treatments, because I don't never use hair treatments, right? I personally, Olaplex was my biggest friend, my best friend, I want to say, back 2 years ago when I cut my hair off because I wanted to grow it out, because I then wanted to bleach it. So I had Olaplex. I had their number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6, and their oil, number 7, I think. Yeah. Which is their treatment, shampoo, conditioner, leave-in, and their oil. I had the entire collection and I used it for about 6 months to a year because I wanted to prepare my hair to get it processed. That is where my line came. And even then, it wasn't a situation where I was doing this every week. I probably did this every 2 weeks, every month, stuff like that, because I knew for a fact my hair was healthy. I didn't need to be adding anything to it, unless it was a situation where I knew I was going to be heating my hair and then, you know, I wanted to like fix that, any problems that might create based on my negligence. Then I did that. But otherwise, my hair was perfectly fine with the way it was, right? Also, once I did process my hair, I only kept a maintenance, so it was an upkeep versus me going and using every week just because. It was me thinking, oh, if I'm leaving my hair out, it's subject to the environment, so I may want to add that because my hair ends are at its most vulnerable because it's already damaged. So I need to add, I want to do this routine because it's gonna help to protect my hair because I've done this. Though that's how I was thinking about it. It wasn't a situation where I was like, well, I have to have this in my routine because it's this kind of treatment and my hair is gonna need it. My hair didn't need it. It was a situation where it made my hair a little bit more well protected because I was creating problems. But if I weren't creating those problems, I wouldn't be needing it in the first place. So my advice is prevention is better than cure. If you're Jamaican, you know that your parents have probably said that phrase to you so often. Prevention is better than cure. You working to not create these problems is better than you going out spending your money to buy these products that are then supposed to fix whatever problems you've created. Now, I'm not saying you can't have these in your collection to hold just in case. That's not what I'm saying at all. But they shouldn't become just a staple in your routine where it's like, well, I have to use this. Because trust me, following a routine that isn't for you will create more damage than good for your hair. So those products, no. Another product I'm a big no for is a leave-in conditioner. And I'm a big no-no for this for two reasons. One, I realized that my hair doesn't like leave-in conditioners for some reason. It's just not a fan. I've tried so many, and my hair either absorbs it and then gets dry from it, or it doesn't absorb it and it just sits on my hair strand. Those are the only one I've seen that I know works for me is the Curlsmith one. But we all know I have problems with that product. I have problems with that product anyways, that have nothing to do with its formulation. It's just products with the overall product itself, the price, the packaging, everything. So for me, that's a situation where I was like, yeah, I'd rather not. That's the only leave-in I've realized works for what it is though. And it took my hair getting some used to. And that's the only one that I've seen work with my hair after a while, because there is a learning curve to a lot of products. And once your hair gets to that point, either rejects it completely or it accepts it. And that's the only one that after a while my hair is just like, okay, fine, we'll work with this. But that's one in probably like 50, and I'm not even exaggerating. Every brand you can, especially every like curly hair brand you can think of that has a leave-in conditioner, I've tried it. I have tried it and I don't like it. Right? So that's one reason. Another reason is I realize that leave-in conditioners are a little bit overpriced for what they are sold as. I don't know, I'm gonna take you down memory lane a bit. And I know some people still use this. It's a good product. The ORS olive oil moisturizer. That product is a godsend. It's an amazing product and it's very cheap, right? Now compare that to a £40 leave-in conditioner. They're basically the same thing, but one is classified as a moisturizer, one is classified as a leave-in. Your leave-in is going to be more expensive because it's advertised as a specific kind of product where you probably don't need it. Get yourself a moisturizer that works on your hair the way it does, and you get yourself an oil and you're good there. You're good to go. Really good to go. All right. So for me, you all know I use the Pattern Beauty Styling Cream. That is my moisturizer. That is what I use to add moisture back into my hair. That is my version of my leave-in. But I don't purchase actual leave-ins. Getting myself a good moisturizing hair cream is all that I need. And most times you have two of them being advertised to you at the same price. Just buy one. You don't need the two of them, because why would you want two different versions of the same thing? Right? And at the end of the day, one of them is going to work, one of them isn't. And one of them is going to be a little bit cheaper. Buy the cheaper one. And your moisturizer normally is cheaper. Right? Finally, and this is probably going to get my Jamaican card revoked immediately. I don't use heavy oils in my hair anymore. I don't buy castor oil. I don't buy coconut oil. I don't buy any of those other oils anymore, because I realized that my hair is too fine to use these products, and it doesn't just weigh it down. So it's nothing against, for this is really nothing against the oils. I love castor oil, and I don't really use coconut oil, but almond oil and those kind of oils, olive oil. Yes, you can use olive oil in your hair. Not one for cooking. You can use olive oil in your hair. But those kinds of oils, I personally love them. They are wonderful. And if your hair is not as fine as mine and can actually handle them, I recommend them all the way. But for me, heavy oils like those are considered sealing oils, but heavy oils like those don't work well for me, because my hair will just hold it and it weighs it down, and it doesn't really do much other than weigh down my hair. The only thing I use at the moment is petrolatum as a sealant, and that is because I need a form of sealant anyways, and petrolatum is just not as heavy for my hair. I don't know how, but it's not as heavy on my hair as the oils were. And it was kind of like a thing where my hair prefers this than it does those anyways, right? So for me, that's really where my mindset goes. I see a lot of these products, especially now that I've used so many and I've learned a lot about how my hair wants to be treated, and I'm like, products, I learned to either use them or not use them over time. It's not something that I gained understanding of one day, right? It took me years. My hair is a constant journey, as is yours, as is anything. And each person's journey is very different, and each person's responses to things are going to be very different. Some of you might be watching the video being like, I could never, it could not be me, right? But other people are watching it, you're like, oh my God, same. It's really just dependent on where you are in your journey. For me, I'm at a point where a lot of these products are not necessary anymore. So like heavy styling creams, heavy styling gels, I can't use. I very rarely find a gel that I can use. I can't use Eco Styler gel. Love Eco Styler gel, but I can't use it because it flakes on my hair like that. I was talking about the Pattern Stronghold gel. It doesn't flake sometimes, but you know, that's the best I can do at the moment. And any other product I've tried, certain gels are too lightweight for me. Certain gels are too heavy for me. Products that are for my hair type, as in 3C4A, are too heavy for my hair strand. So me using products that were made for the like 4 type texture is too heavy because my hair is really fine. But I can't use anything for 3 because it's too light, so it doesn't give my hair the hold that it needs. So it's a constant battle of just learning, understanding, you know, do I want this product? Do I not want this product? Is it something that I realize that after using it, it just makes my hair even worse? Does it help my hair? What do I notice happens when I use this product? That kind of thing. You know, that's what you need to be looking out for, because at the end of the day, it's up to you, to your hair, your money that you're spending. But it's also a learning opportunity. And I think we need to also remember that taking care of your hair, just like the rest of your body, it's an enjoyment. It's something that is supposed to, I feel like hair care especially, it's become such a tedious task. Like, you think about wash day and it's just dread, because you know you're going to be in the shower standing there with your arms hurting you for how long, right? You come out of there and you, even though you're getting to sit down now, it's still you having your hair up. It's blow drying, if it's adding gel, if it's having that the diffuser sitting on your hair, it takes time. Even if it's just straightening it, it takes so long, right? It's just become such a tedious task. But at the end of the day, we need to remember it's a self-care thing. You know, it's you taking the time out to put your best self forward, while, you know, putting love and care into a part of your body that you actually appreciate. Because I know we all love our hair, so I put so much effort into it, so I put so much time and money into it. If we didn't, we just shave it all off, right? Even if it's to go to the salon and get your hair braided or add in your wig or whatever it is a self-care thing. I hope that when you watch this video, you guys take that from it. You know, it's not to bash anybody who does any of these, uses any of these products or anything like that. It is more so an understanding that I've had over time with a lot of them, where I realized that, my gosh, we were scammed. You know, the whole no using grease in your hair, that's a lie. Grease is one of the greatest sealants ever. Why wouldn't you want to use it? It will protect your hair from no. I don't know, like, why? Just, it's a whole thing, right? But, you know, take your time. Learn to love your hair, learn to understand your hair. That's all that I want you to say from this. You know, it's about you and your journey. So these products I may not like, but you might like, and our experiences could be completely 180, right? Because I'm saying, well, some of these products I could never use anymore because I've seen such negative responses, but I know some people use them. It's only positives that they have for these products, and that's okay, because it's a learning process for every person. And so whatever it is you do with your hair, I'm here for it. As long as your hair is healthy, I'm here for you. I'm here for it, right? So with that being said, guys, it's been lovely, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.